Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and again I'm playing with my new shine release from Funky Fossil, and this is the pack of collage papers. Here I'm just choosing a piece for my background. I'm just going to add some of this paper across my page. I'm also going to be using this stencil which is called Astra, and it's like a profile of a face that's looking slightly upwards. A bit like you would take a selfie, I guess, if you don't want to have lots of chins, like me. So I'm sticking that in using some glue stick, and then I'm just using the brayer just to make sure it's nice and flat and there's no bumps and wrinkles in it. Here just trimming the excess off. And then I'm going to start adding some colour and paint onto my page. So I'm using quite a dry brush here. And this isn't one of the Art by Marlene brushes. This is my favourite pink. It's the Permanent Red Violet Light from Amsterdam Acrylic. And I'm just brushing that onto a few places on my page. I am going to try and leave some white space on this page. Not something I'm always very successful at. But you know, you can try, can't you? So you can see I've used a very dry brush to get that paint on there. And then I'm using my floating stencil, which came from a previous release, and I'm just adding a little bit of colour over the top. So I think that's probably a little bit of orchid that I've added in there, or it might even have been a little bit of night added in with the Permanent Red Violet Light. This stencil that I'm using now is called Starlight, and it's just got lovely small text. It's really versatile. It works really nicely with paint, and it works beautifully with texture paste too. So here I'm using the same blending tool and just added a bit of turquoise in. I'm just adding a little bit of text around the edge of the page. So this is, as I said, the Astra face stencil, and it's like that upwards looking profile of a face. So I'm just going to add some colour through the stencil, and I am using black. But if you wanted to use a neutral colour through the stencil, then of course you've got easier lines to cover over if you're wanting to, you know, alter any of the features yourself. So that's just a little idea of a way that you can use a stencil if you don't want to make a bold image like that, like I've done with the black outlines. And then once I've dried that, again using my Neo Colour 2s and scribble sticks and just adding some colour to the face. And here I'm just using some Lindy's just to add some colour onto the hair as well. So the reason I've chosen these kind of mediums to use is because I'm using this white watercolour paper journal. These work really nicely on this paper, and you know, it's sometimes just really nice to grab supplies that you've not used so much. So I am of course using the Lindy's like a watercolour to just get a bit of colour onto my page. So now I'm going in with white, and the reason I'm doing this is I felt that that diagonal piece of paper was just looking a little bit odd with the head over the top of it. So I wanted to kind of push it away into the background a little bit and then bring the image back over the top. You can see that's what I'm doing here. This is one of the things I love about mixed media. It's the fact that you can alter your page as you go along. So if you do something and you think, I don't like that, it's not working, there is usually a way that you can alter it and fix it and find a solution. So now I've brought that into the foreground rather than it disappearing behind the paper. And I could even pull the colour down on the neck over that white as well if I wanted to. But now I'm using the Shoot for the Stars text stamp with some pink, I think that is, like a pink archival ink, just to add some text onto my background too. Then I decided I would try and add some shadows onto my face, just to try and give it a bit more of a 3D feel. A little bit of colour to the lips. And then I'm just drawing over the stars in the hair using a white pen. And I'm drawing over the lines in the hair as well. Just pushing that black line a little bit further into the background. So now I'm using the Paper Stars stamp that's also new with this collection, and it's kind of following the theme of the paper hearts. I don't know if you remember those from the previous release. So they are lovely little stamps with the stars and the paper text elements in them. So I've stamped that onto some white paper and I am just cutting some of those out just to add on to my page. They might make nice little accents because the text in the stars are all different. So it's a nice way to just add another little touch and also to bring that element of contrast because I've stamped them onto white. So we've got a bit of black and white coming into play now in the journal page too. So then this is a little mark making stamp called Starry, and it's kind of on a similar vein to the Dotty stamp, just a way to add a few small marks onto your page. And then of course I am using my Dotty stamp, one of my favourites, just to bring a little bit more pattern and marks, to bring more marks onto my page. I'm so sorry, clearly my brain function is being affected by my cold, dearie me. Okay, and then I am using a quote from the Stargazer stamp set to stamp, oh, is it from that one? Yes, it is. To stamp onto my page. Didn't stamp brilliantly well. And that's partly because the textured paper in this journal makes it a little bit bumpy. So I just wrote over it and then I went back in and added a drop shadow using the white pen just to pop it out from the background too. And then the last thing that I did was to grab a really chunky white Posca pen and add some white dots onto the page as well. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Get some inspiration for ways that you can use my new release. I love using faces on my journal pages, whether they're paper dolls or stencils or collage papers. Yeah, come back again for some more ideas, and yeah, I hope to see you back again soon.